recording, so we'll be able to send this out as well.
Awesome.
Now, before I get started into social community, do you have an idea of what you would like to use, or are you kind of going in with fresh eyes, don't really know what we have, and are kind of just open?
Kind of both. I mean, if you're talking about, are we on do we have any social media accounts right now? We do. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Awesome. And do we have those linked on your website?
I believe that I was successful in doing so. I don't know if you want to take a peek and make sure that I did it right.
No, this is exactly right. This is perfect. Awesome. Okay, so in MemberClicks, there's a couple of things that we offer. There's the most basic sense of our social community, and that's where your members will log in and are brought to a member landing page, and they can view their profile if you want. They can update their profile. They can search members, send members direct messages. Those are all pretty basic and built in, and so I'll definitely be reviewing that with you. Then we can kind of bump it up a notch, and you can utilize our circles component. So circles are kind of like a modern day forum. Basically, any member has the ability to create a circle, or you can limit that so that only you can create circles. Or like I said earlier, you don't have to use it at all. And then with those circles, so let's say I come into my MemberClicks website, I want to create a circle. I can create one on 2018 December convention. And within that, I create different discussions on topics that I have questions on. So there could be a discussion on where's everybody staying? Is anybody carpooling? Where's everybody eating? What are you most excited about? These can be kind of different discussions inside of the overall umbrella 2018 December convention circle.
Can you show what that looks like? Because that is something we hope to utilize.
Yeah, I'm going to be going in and out a little bit of both your site and my MemberClicks test site. I'm going to start off by assuming one of your members' profiles, and I just want to make sure that, yep, we should be good. So I'm going to go into an associate member's profile. I'm just going to access those 5 individuals by clicking on the number 5 next to the associate member type, which is going to bring them in the profile list. And from here, I'm just going to click one of these. We'll choose Teresa. I'm going to use the Actions drop-down in Teresa's profile and select Assume Profile. This is going to allow me to see your website as if I'm Teresa.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes. So you've already updated the member landing page. I love this. She'll be greeted with this name tag. I don't know why this keeps popping up. She'll be greeted with this name tag. And then she can go ahead and select My Profile, which is going to take us into Teresa's profile. So this is the most basic level of the social community. This is where Teresa can see the last time, when she was added, the last time she was online, how many profile views she's received. Similar to Facebook, if you have a Facebook, she can share statuses. So Teresa can say, so excited about the 2018 convention. It doesn't look like Teresa has the ability to edit any of the fields within her profile at this time, but she can review them. And of course, she could send you an email and let you know, hey, this is wrong and it needs to be updated.
Right. Although I changed the attributes so that members could change like their name and their email, but that's interesting. Okay.
We can go in there and take a look and just see what we might be missing, or if the system's being weird. You know, it definitely can be weird sometimes. So we'll take a look. And then individuals can write on Teresa's wall. So I may want to say, hey, Teresa, I haven't seen you in forever. Can't wait to see you at the convention. And then Teresa would have the ability to like comment on that comment and say, hey, girl, I've missed you too. Can't wait to see you. Where are you staying? You know, we can have little conversations just like on Facebook. Teresa can change her profile picture. She has some very limited privacy settings. The privacy settings by default are really so that everybody can see either of these items. I'm going to introduce some new vocabulary while talking about this, and that's this word connections.
Okay.
Connections are the equivalent of having a friend on Facebook. You have a connection in member clicks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the only privacy settings that your members can really determine is who can see Teresa's connections. The default is that everybody can.
Okay.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I said they can choose this themselves.
Exactly. This is something they get to choose themselves. So whether people can see their connections or not, whether people can see the photos that they upload or not. And I shouldn't say people, it's members, what other members can see as far as their connections, what other members can see as far as their photos.
Right. And what is the default? Does it just default to anyone being able to see it, or?
Exactly.
Okay.
You can change the default, but typically it's best to kind of, from just what I've seen in the conversations I've had, it's best to leave this open, and then members can narrow this down if they wish to.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the My Profile view by selecting the My Profile tab.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other things I can point out. We've got those privacies we just looked at. Starting a new circle, we'll do that in just a moment. Upload photos, and then write and view your inbox. You can write direct messages to other members as well. So I'm going to go to my MemberClicks test site. And in here, I believe I have a professional member type. And I think I'm in a couple of circles, if not maybe just one. All right. I'm going to go to my profile. So I can start a new circle in here. When clicking that, it's going to allow me to add a circle name and a circle description. So as I hover over each of these titles, it tells me what I'm supposed to be doing in that area. We can categorize our circles. You actually will be the one who adds those categories.
Okay.
Circles can be open or private. Even if the circle is private, members can still see the circle name and the description. They just would not be able to see the discussions within it. Okay. Discussion order, allowing photos, and then these have to do with notifications. Once the circle's created, we have kind of under the My Features tab, I'm skipping around a little here, but there's a Circles submenu. And this is where all of the circles will be listed. I even can select all circles, my circles, pending invitations. That means that the circle was private and I requested to join. And then I can search circles. We can also view circles alphabetically by most discussed, by the ones that have the most wall posts, the ones that have the most members, and the ones that are most active. I'm going to click on all circles. And this is going to give you a list of all the circles and the categories that they're in.
Awesome.
And then we have a little summary of the latest discussion. So here's all the circles that we've got in here. If I wanted to see just my circle, I can go to My Circles. Here's the circle I'm a part of. So we've got the circle name and the circle description. I'm going to click on the circle name, and that's going to take me inside the circle. There are some announcements that have been created. There are some discussions that have been created. And then the circle has its own wall as well.
Okay.
And then there's our description again. We can create a new discussion, upload photos, create a photo album, invite our connections, or I could leave the circle if I wanted to. I also can view who the admin of the circle are. By default, the admin of the circle is the person who created the circle, but you can change that on the back end. And then I also can view how many members are in the circle, as well as any photo albums that have been created.
Now, can we also upload um, documents so that, for instance, we have the executive council, it's called, it's a Yahoo group, which is basically what we're doing here, but we need, like Google Docs where you have documents, parked, so that everyone can view them.
Absolutely. So I just created a new discussion. You have the ability to add a discussion title, and then this is just like the editors on the back end.
Okay.
So we've got all these different options, including the ability to choose files to upload.
Okay, great.
Or external or external links, like to a Google Drive.
Oh, so I can do, oh, great. Okay, so that I can hyperlink that to the Google Docs.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay.
Exactly. What other questions do you have on the circles piece?
Again, just the security portion, because we would like to have, obviously, circles for our members to talk to each other about different topics and do away with what we have now, which is the Yahoo groups. But, there are some sort of business and administrative things that obviously no one else outside of the executive council needs to be privy to.
Okay, so if you have an executive council group, you could use a private circle, but what I would probably more so suggest is using our committees feature. So you'll notice if I hover over my features tab, there's a committee submenu. If I was not in a committee, I would not see this submenu, meaning I wouldn't even know committees existed.
Awesome.
So you can only see this if you're a part of it. I can click on that committees tab and it gives me the committees that I'm a part of.
Okay.
If I get email notifications, I'm going to go ahead and click in one of these. And when I do so, within that, you'll see any messages that can be shared, who the members of this committee are. I'm a very active committee member. That's right. And then I can, you can also share files in this area, which sounds like something that you're looking for. So there's a little bit more security just in the fact that nobody would even know this existed unless they were in it.
Terrific.
And setting up committees is really easy. Perfect.
And I can set that up for each committee that we have in place.
Exactly. We'll take a look at that together. Okay, I'm going to go back to the My Profile tab for just a second. Just to kind of, or before I keep going, any other questions?
No, I'm good with the next thing you want to show me.
Awesome. So a couple of other cool things. I love our social community. I think that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is really the bones of what we offer from this aspect of the product is kind of all listed under this My Profile tab.
Okay.
So a lot of my clients get asked, like you guys, you get asked a lot by your members, can you send me my invoice? Do I owe you money for an invoice? Can you print off and mail me my invoice? Did I submit this form? Have I registered? Did I do this correctly? So there's some items down here that kind of make your members a little bit more self-service. One of these items is the submissions submenu. So I don't think I have any form submissions in here at this time. Oh, I do. So these will list any forms that I've submitted.
Okay.
How much I paid, if I have a balance, and I think I can even click on this number and it'll show me my invoice.
Right.
I can download my invoice from here and print it off. I can also look at any invoices. These are going to be open invoices, paid invoices. So if I need to print off a receipt, I'll print off a paid invoice.
Okay.
If I need to pay an open invoice, which I don't have any open invoices in here, I can actually click on the invoice number. And if it's open, there's going to be a button right next to the download invoice button that says pay invoice, and it'll allow me to pay any open invoices I have from that area.
Okay.
Message history is going to show me any email I've ever received from the MemberClicks product. I love this feature because my personal email is constantly full of spam. So instead of
Right.
me having to go back through my email to find something you've sent me, I can find it right in the message history of my profile.
Oh, that's really good.
I do have the ability to set some contact preferences. They all have to do, for the most part, with the social community. I can also subscribe to forums. I can subscribe to e-lists from this area, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then I also have the ability to unsubscribe from all emails coming from you guys. But even if I unsubscribe from all emails, I'm still going to receive renewal notifications and
Oh,
form confirmations. I can never opt out of those.
awesome.
All right. A couple other things we got in here. I can change my password. There's that privacy setting again, which I showed you earlier. And then I can change my profile picture.
Okay.
I'm going to scoot over to this connections tab for a moment. This is just going to allow me to browse the directory. Browsing the directory is going to show me all the members that you guys have, and it's going to allow me to add them as my connection, send them a message, and I can view their number of connections as well. I could click on anybody's profile, so maybe I want to know more about Addie. I'll click on her profile, and it's going to take me right into her profile where I can view more details. Of course, this is going to be coming from the attribute security as well.
Okay.
I also have the ability to do an advanced search in the directory, and then I can view my requests sent and those requests pending my approval. So just what that means is, like, if you added somebody as a friend on Facebook, they have to accept your friend request before you're friends. Same scenario here. And then I can show all of my connections, which I don't have any connections in here. No friends. Under the My Features, that touches on circles again, photos, committees. E-list is probably not used too often by the associations I work with. So a benefit of an e-list is, let's say that you want to email your entire executive committee. Of course, it would be really easy for you to search for those guys in the profile list and send it from the contact center. But if you could actually create an alias called executive committee at MSLHA memberclicks-mail.com. It's something like that. And if you send an email from your own personal email or from MemberClicks, from really any email, anytime you send it to that email address, it'll send it to all of the members in the e-list, so the entire executive committee. When you send these emails, you can make it so that when those individuals reply, that reply goes to everybody. So if I was in your executive committee and you sent an email to all of us, I could reply and say, hey, I totally found a great vendor for our upcoming conferences. You know, who should I get them in touch with? And that response could go to every single person on the executive committee.
Okay.
So that's really the biggest benefit. You can also make it so that when people reply, it only goes back to you. But if you're going to do that, why not just send emails from the contact center? Is kind of my thing. But your members do have the ability to determine if they're subscribed or unsubscribed to e-list if you do decide to use that component. We looked at committees. Then we've just got our inbox. We can view any, I'm going to write any messages we've received from other members. We can write new messages. We can send these messages from this area from our connection list. One thing to note here is that we can only send up to 30 messages a day. That's to prevent any of your members trying to advertise their personal business or personal endeavors. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. We can search our members using the search directory in the top right-hand corner up here. And then lastly, we have the My Community tab. The My Community tab is just like your Facebook feed. So whatever's going on within the social community will filter in this area. Now, this is limited, I think, to 20 items, but I can click more down here at the bottom, and it's going to show me more activities.
Okay.
And I think that kind of covers it. What questions do you have on this piece?
I don't have any on this piece, but I have several things that I need to find out how to put into place that are coming up and that are kind of part of this and sort of not. I mean, obviously it's for the members.
Yeah, let's jump in.
Okay. One of the things that we want to do this first time we do this is a reserve my seat option for the conference that's coming up. So members can reserve their seat before they register, and some of them do register via PO or pay at their door with a PO from their school systems. I started to do something like that in the forms, but I want to be sure that I've done it correctly.
Yeah. We'll go back out of Teresa's profile. We're going to go to forms, form list. And what's the form called where you created this?
Reserve my seat.
Ah, that's easy enough. Okay. So I would imagine, so all we're doing right now is asking for their name. What kind of information do you need from your members in order to reserve their seat?
Actually, what I need, and this is the part that I was struggling with last night, was I couldn't figure out how to do the form elements, how to just, I know that I saw you just kind of drag and drop, but I wasn't able to do that. Okay.
And it'll turn green where you need to drop it, which can be a little confusing. So if you would like to, maybe their organization.
Organization, yeah.
We would just click. No. Click. All right.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Okay, good.
Click and drop. Well, and it's not just a one click, it's a click and hold.
Ah, thank you.
Click and hold. And we can even move our, I'm like, maybe I want organization under registrant name. What other kind of fields are you thinking you might like to see here?
I think for the reserve your seat, that's really all that we need.
Is there a price?
No, well, that would happen at the registration level. So perhaps membership type, wouldn't that automatically populate?
Yeah, you would actually already know that. Would you need to know how many individuals they want to reserve a seat for, like in case they're bringing guests?
No, I'd rather they actually just did their own.
Okay. Awesome. Are there different levels of seats that they might be reserving, or are they all the same?
They're all the same, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, this should be pretty good. And one thing that I always want to mention is it's important to update this event section. Oops. Because I'm going to use this properties button in the top right-hand corner up here. I want to rename this event section Reserve Your Seat. And the reason we want to do that is because otherwise when they're taking this form, they're going to navigate to the event section and it's just going to say event section. So they're not really knowing like what they're doing. Also, this filters into the home page dashboard where it lists 3 past events, 3 upcoming events. If you don't fill this out, you'll see when you're looking at that dashboard, it'll just say event section. Okay. And that doesn't really tell you much. And what's the date of this? Is this correct?
No, it's not. And I'm not sure where that date came from. I guess it's yesterday's date, maybe because I created the form yesterday.
It looks like it.
So the event date, I mean, it would be October 22nd and 23rd, but is that what it's asking, or is it asking for a cutoff?
Is there a cutoff as to when they can no longer reserve a seat?
Yes. I'm doing we'll say October 8th, which is the cutoff for the early bird registration as well.
So I'll just say October 8th. And I would maybe add this, reserve your seat below. I would maybe add you have the ability to reserve a seat up until October 8th or something like that.
Right.
That way, if people see the form, leave it, and then they want to come back later, and they're like, wait a second, where'd it go? You don't have people calling you saying, hey, I saw this form, and now it's gone, and you have to explain a million times, well, just send it on the 8th. You can no longer do that or something.
Okay, sounds great.
And that's all we need for this form. So if we wanted to test it and take a look on the front end, do you remember how we do that?
Yes. Do I not just go to the form list again, and then you can go to the little option on the side, right-hand side? Yep.
Take this form. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome. What other questions do you have?
Let's see, the other question. So with the registrations, and I'm sorry that it's not specific to the social piece, but these are things that I know how to do.
You're fine. You're totally fine.
The registration, is that an auto invoice if they choose to pay by check or pay by PO?
So for the registration, down here at the very bottom in the payment section, I'm going to hit properties, and there's this option that says enable pay later with invoice. So when they take the form and they come to the payment section, it's going to say pay now, or there's going to be another drop-down option that says invoice me. If they select invoice me, then that means that an open invoice is automatically created and emailed to them. Of course, that is depending on the invoice type that you have selected in the payment section. If they choose to pay at that time, then they'll just receive the payment confirmation email, which once again is coming from the invoice template that you have selected in the payment section, which is the events invoice template.
Terrific. All right. So next question. You spoke about the email addresses, and it would be, for instance, for the committees, it would be legislativecommittee@memberclicks.net or at MSLHA@memberclicks?
Let me tell you exactly what it would be, but that's through the e-list component. So if you're using the e-list, then you can create an alias like that. If you do not use an e-list, then they will all come from, what does this say? Hold on one second. I've got a sample. Reference. Hold on one second. I always forget this. Let me search for NAQ. Hold on one second. NAQ. Golly. Membership grace notice. Okay. It would come from MSLHA@memberclicks-mail.net.
Okay.
If you're just sending it from the contact center.
Okay, great. All right, terrific. And so if I wanted to replace our current Yahoo email, I can just use this?
You definitely can, but one thing I would keep in mind is when your members are trying to reply to, emails can't come back here. You can only send them out. Okay. So it would need to either go back into Yahoo, or with what you've purchased with MemberClicks, we do offer a free email service. It's not free. It's part of kind of what you're paying for. It's through Rackspace, RACKSPACE. And within Rackspace, you can create up to 15 different emails. So you could have a president at MSLHA.com, treasurer at MSLHA.com, admin at MSLHA.com. You could do up to 15 of those. And you can manage your email in Rackspace. One thing that I will mention, Rackspace cannot bring over any historical emails, so you'd be kind of starting from a clean slate. And I think that's actually it.
Okay.
Does that sound like something you might want to use?
Well, we do have like president at MSLHA.org.
Oh, got it.
Built website.
Okay. Then it sounds like you already have your own personal email that you use.
Well, yeah, but that's with the current hosting. So I'm assuming we'll lose that.
Oh, is it with your current?
Correct.
It's with your current website host?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, I would imagine, unless they are separate, I would imagine that you would lose that. So do you want me to go ahead and have my DNS team set you up some inboxes in MemberClicks?
That would be great, but it would obviously MSLHA.org.
MSLHA.org it needs to be?
Yes.
Okay, let me, here it is. Let me just submit this ticket really quickly. Required info, MSLHA, product service ID 9146, domain MSLHA.org. Can we please add Rackspace email to their account? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrienne.
Absolutely.
I have two questions to ask you about.
Okay.
One of kind of sort of goes with community. For our members, and it's going to be introduced this year, it's a brand new thing, it's going to be a lending library. Some of the materials and testing materials and books and other things, even some of the tools that SLPs use can be cost prohibitive to some of our members. And so what we're trying to offer them is a lending library that I will be managing. But there are a couple of things, there's going to be mailing in and out, which, I'm taking care of. However, I want it to be sort of a seamless way that they can also request materials through the website. Whether it's a form, but also for me to keep track. And so could I also at some point integrate, like if I did some sort of barcode reading for each of the items, could I integrate that into MemberClicks?
So maybe. It sounds like what you're describing is a learning management system. Does that sound correct?
Not sure.
So basically a place where, and you may not need to utilize all these different components, but a place where members can review resources, take quizzes on those resources sometimes. Sometimes it gives them certifications, and you can track those kind of like continued education credits that they may receive.
Well, actually, that's a separate thing, but that is something we would love to be able to share with our members. This is going to be physical items that they will be requesting and will be sent to them. However, I need a centralized place where they can request, where perhaps they can even view what's available, a list of what's available. Just like when you go to the library in town, you go.
That sounds. It sounds like it would just be a form. Would be the easiest way to do this. Like I had a client who sold physical publications, so a little bit like that, but it sounds like it would not necessarily be publications. It would just be like different resources. And I would at the
I'm sorry, our publications, and some of them are testing tools, but I want to be able to make it easy for them and also make it easy for me to track and ensure that it's managed properly.
How many different items could they request, and how often does it change?
Hold on, let me look at the rules, the procedures for that. And also we'll need to keep their credit card information in place, because if they're late, there is going to be a late charge, late charge applied to their credit card.
So we would not have the ability to do that.
Okay.
You would have to send them basically another invoice requesting that they pay for a late fee. But there wouldn't really be an automated way for the system to keep track of that, so they would have to be manually created invoices that you would be sending out for late fees, which you could do through our ad hoc invoice component, but it would have to be a manual process.
Okay, that's fine. That's exactly what I need to know.
And I would create this in like a form, and I would call it, what did you call it again, a learning library?
Lending library, correct.
Lending library?
Yes.
Lending library. And I would probably just create this form. You would want them to log in so that you have history of this within their profile.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would just do the general section. And I'm going to call this general section the lending library. And then from here, we would want to add things like probably a description of all the different items that are available.
Yes, absolutely.
Items, place available items here. And then we would just add a different field. We could do it one of two ways, either through a selection set where we could say, just a silly example, MC database learning material. And then from here, of course, we always want to copy this into our export name. We would say, we could make it a price field if they need to pay for it. We would add a selection, and it could say, yes, I would like this, or something along those lines. And maybe they have to pay $25. It doesn't have to be used as a price field. So there's this option, or we could do this with a number field. And the number field would allow us to say, same thing, we're going to use it as a price field. We could say MC database learning material. But this time, instead of saying, yes, I want this, like they can only get one, maybe they can purchase multiple at one time. So what this is giving them the ability to do is put in the number of how many of this resource they would like. And we can charge per unit. So if they put in 4, it's going to do 4 times 25 and create an invoice for $100.
Okay.
Do either of these look like what you might be looking for?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I mean, they won't necessarily be paying for the materials. We will be asking them for credit card information so that we need to charge them if they're late, but it would all be free to use if you're a member.
There wouldn't really be a secure way in collecting their credit card information, because a credit card payment section only becomes available when an invoice has been created. If this isn't creating an invoice, we'd have to manually put fields on the form asking for their credit card information, which people probably wouldn't feel super comfortable doing.
Okay.
Of course, you could keep track of, okay, well, he's had this MC database learning material for 30 days. Tomorrow I have to send him an ad hoc invoice, in which case you would just create the ad hoc invoice and send it over to him for whatever amount he needs to pay. So in that case, I would probably just do this MC database learning, this first selection set option. This number option would only work if you were collecting payment.
Right. Great. Well, I have to think about this one then.
Yeah.
And then basically, be a file, you know, as under whether it's under community or something else. I mean, we would just have documents, you know, such as here is the list of items available, and they can send me a request via the database, sort of like the contact us, but just specific to the lending library, and then I would just call them and deal with it that way. Does that sound like it would be?
You could totally do that as well. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so it's just more making sort of a contact me regarding the lending library items.
Correct.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
No, you're totally fine. And if we need to have a separate brainstorming session just on kind of talking about this, we definitely can. Something else I was going to mention to you is we actually just purchased a learning management system like last week. It's going to be a little while before, like probably into next year, maybe late next year before we're ready to start doing any demos with it. We've purchased the technology, but I know we're going to be making some changes and alterations. So that's something that could become available through MemberClicks next year, which is super exciting. But if you do decide that you're looking for more of a learning management system, which I don't think that this piece that you're discussing really falls into that, because they're not really paying anything. It doesn't really sound like you need to keep track of credits for this. That might be something else that you want to do that for. But I do have a list of learning management systems that we've worked with in the past that have done a really good job from what we have seen internally. Would that list maybe be helpful? Do you want me to send that to you?
That would be great, because I like to keep things like that in mind, because even if MSLHA is not thinking about that right now, because, you know, there is a lot on the plate at the moment, it is something that may be yet another offering for members, and so it warrants looking into and considering. And so if I have that information available, that would be really helpful.
Absolutely. And you can always start kind of brainstorming. It might help you for this piece, brainstorm and find what you're looking for.
That's here too, yeah.
Okay.
And then
awesome.
I do have one more item, and I'm sure you have something for us, but I like to think ahead and anticipate what's coming down the pike. Do you have sort of a launch, how can I put it? How, you know, do you have some sort of marketing plan, like a launch plan for that we can use as a sort of a template, boilerplate type thing, so that I've been letting members know, and I've been letting others know that, you know, we have a new website coming, we have these new elements, these new features, enhanced membership, you know, center. But how do you do it in such a way that, you know, it really is sort of a ta-da moment?
Yeah, so if you go through the Go Live checklist, which is going to be kind of important for you to start reviewing after a call today, at the very bottom of this, we have some pre-added verbiage in here for you to get you started on this welcome email that we're going to be sending to your members, which, by the way, I have updated everybody's usernames to the first letter of their first name plus their last name.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of some verbiage for you to start off with. We will not want to send this out until your website is live. So those name servers that I provided to you, you'll need to give those to your domain host first.
Right.
Did I send them to you? Did I send them to you?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh, cool. I'll send them again. So they will want to make your site live first. Then we can send out this welcome email. There's some different statistics. I don't know them specifically, but I know you can Google it online, like specific statistics on when's the best time to send an email, when is it going to be most looked at. What I would typically recommend is sending it out from MemberClicks, but also formatting it to send out from whatever your existing communication software has been, whether that's Constant Contact or just your email. That way, when it hits your members, if any of these emails from member clicks go into a spam or a junk folder, you're letting your members know from the contact they're used to receiving from you all that they need to be looking for it. I would also recommend sending this out more than one time. So we may send it out on Monday, and then you may want to send it again out the next Monday just to make sure that everybody received it. Because open responses or open rate for emails is only like 27%. Like it's really low, like the average. So that's why I would recommend sending it maybe from a couple different platforms and a couple different times.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And I think that's kind of it. Yeah, and I've got a pretty format that we can put it into once you're ready, once this verbiage looks good, to pretty it up a little bit. Of course, if you have any of your own email templates, we could try to use the HTML from those, but I'm creating 3 email templates for you that you can use in your product as well. Oh. And once this is written, we'll go through the process of sending it out together.
Okay, sounds great. And then, is there anything else, perhaps, regarding the community piece?
I don't think so.
I talked about that specifically.
I know that you're interested in committees, so I'm going to send you a link on the committees, so you can start playing around with those. And I'll resend you that social community video. I would definitely recommend going back and watching that. Other than that, though, I mean, like you kind of saw, it's very intuitive and easy to use. Of course, it needs to be, since it's what your members are going to be using, and they won't have any formal training on how to use it. So I'll send you those resources. But I think other than that, you're just killing it. Any other questions you have for me?
No.
Uh-oh, are you still there?
It's intuitive. Well, yeah, and I just want to be sure that, we're not missing anything, but I don't think you'll let us miss anything anyway. So
I'm not going to let you miss anything. I definitely won't let you miss anything. Going back through this Go Live checklist, I'd like for you to start from top to bottom and work your way all the way through. Even if it's something where you're like, oh, I've already done that, just go look at it again, because you may know more now than what you did at the time you originally completed it.
No, I do things anyway. I go back different stages.
Perfect. You
do see things that you perhaps didn't see before.
You're breaking up just a little bit, but I think I caught.
So you'll set. I'm sorry. No, I was just saying that's how I do things anyway. I revisit just to be sure that I haven't missed anything. Because as the process goes along, you do learn more, and so there are things that you didn't sense, and so by the end of the process, it does, and you're better equipped.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Awesome. So really, the next time we talk, the goal would be to kind of send out the welcome email together, which means that you would have needed to provide your name servers to your domain host to make the website live. And has gone through the Go Live checklist. Now, before we send a welcome email out from anywhere, I'm going to go through the Go Live checklist with you. But everything on the front end of your website, as far as taking your website live, you're ready to do, once you feel comfortable with how everything looks and the verbiage you have. With saying that, when do you think you'll be ready for that call?
That's a good question. Could you bear with me for 1 second?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're hoping to actually have this launch by next week.
Okay.
To a certain extent. Only because we want people to start registering for the conference, and the brochure should hit everyone's mailbox by the 22nd of August. I know that's about 5 days earlier than we set for a launch date. But we had asked actually earlier on whether that piece, whether it was possible to just have them register through member clicks and then do a full launch of the website by the 27th. Does that work?
So the reason we don't want to do that is because your members are going to need their username and password in order to register.
Okay.
And so when we send out the welcome email, that's what we're giving them is their username and prompting them to create a password, and they'll have to use that to register. So we don't want to direct people to go to your site to register for this without welcoming them and telling them about their username and password.
Okay, so based on that, what do you recommend for a timeline?
Well, I've got actually some time carved out on Monday. Just so happens that I could do a call with you to send out the welcome email and go through the Go Live checklist, make sure that registration looks 100% ready to go. So we could do that on Monday if you think you'll be ready, if you think you're ready.
Now, the other thing that you had mentioned in one of our other meetings was we should have some content, and I don't believe we're there yet.
We should have some what?
Content under each of those tab items.
Well, with saying that, you could do, if you are still completing this, you could absolutely either unpublish some of these items that you don't feel ready to have available, so people just like have less content now, or you could have pages that would say information coming soon.
Okay, great. All right, so if we were to have, obviously, the member center where they can just go into their profile and unpublish some of the other items that are not critical now, but they can go to conference and register. I mean, those are the sort of the two critical items. So from your perspective and your expertise, how many items should we have that are published and ready to go?
You know, that's a tough question because I've worked with associations that have 2 pages of content. I mean, really the bare minimum. I do know that with the kind of era that we're in now today, the more streamlined, the more straightforward, the better. So kind of like less is more. Most of my clients are looking for very easy to navigate websites that don't have a ton of information, that are more icons and just very streamlined. So you have a lot of tabs on here. Even if you just had like 3, 4, 5 menu items that were complete, you would look like you had a fully functioning, finished website. Now, there may be some critical information that your members are looking for, and if you know that you've got Sarah as a member and you know Sarah's going to come into your website and she's going to go straight for that page, and if it's not there, you're probably going to get a phone call from her, whatever that resource may be, then that's something on your end that you know about your members. It might be something that is really important to them. If there's not really anything like that, if you don't have any Sarahs, not like Sarahs specifically, but like I just feel like
if we look at this while you're talking, so that I can look at that and say to you, yeah, I get what you mean, because I'm on the Go Live checklist right now.
Oh, okay. Well, the Go Live checklist is a bit different. It's more about behind the scenes.
On my screen, so I don't know if you could go back to our. Sorry, Adrian, I'm just.
No, you're fine.
Thinking 5 different things at once.
I was just kind of clicking around.
So I'm thinking member center, conference. Join and contact us can be those items that are there for when we launch.
Which means we don't necessarily right now need legislative news.
Yeah.
And this is, you can see how easy this is to, fluctuate or change.
Awesome. And then it's almost like a treat, like, oh, you know, we just added this, and it, you know, it's this whole new world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think this would look totally fine. I'm trying to think of some of the websites that I've done recently that are very popular. They're just, I've seen more and more about concise and not a lot of menu structure, not a lot of menu options, and recently it's just been like the more streamlined is what people are looking for.
So now, in order to change the order of these tabs, because that home being where it is bugging me, can you just show me that so that I can?
Yeah, if you wanted home to be up front, I'm just still in that menu structure. I can find the home, and I'm just going to click these little arrows.
Ah, okay.
Are you wanting it at the front?
I think so.
And I'm just going to keep going. Almost there. There we go.
Awesome. All right. So you think that as this is with those, you know, just those tabs at the moment, because I think that's really what we want them to go into the member center, update their profiles, take a look around, figure it out. We want them to register for the conference and then ultimately download conference handouts. We want them to join if they're new, and we want them to contact us if they have any issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like it's...
Sounds perfect.
Okay.
It does.
So then if we were to say, yeah, let's meet on Monday, you think this suffices in terms of being able to launch now before the website is fully fleshed out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Especially if we need that conference registration. That makes most sense to me. And you can, if you want, you can even put a right here along the lines of, more information to come, or that. But this is totally fine as it is.
Okay. Because yeah, that was my concern, is that we don't have everything that.
So.
And then the quick links are almost mimic the menu tabs above.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's just a little easier to find. I just got this because I'm an admin. I am going to have to my 2 o'clock, but I do want to make sure that we have some time scheduled before that. So you want to go ahead and put on the calendar for Monday?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah. Do you want to do, I've got right now, I could do 9 a.m. on Monday. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
All right. So if you have any questions between then, just let me know, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And other than that, just go through the follow-up email to you after my 2 o'clock call, do the Go Live checklist, go ahead and write that welcome, and I'll just talk to you Monday morning.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Adrian.
Uh-oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, hello.